Good evening. Welcome to Live United. Live United, where we have an opportunity to share all the great resources here in the Monadnock region that make a difference in the citizens' lives. And today I'd like to welcome Susan Ashworth. Susan joins us from Home Healthcare, Hospice, and Community Services. She's the Director of Community Relations. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you for allowing me to be here, Kelly.
Well, you know, I love having, better known as HCS. We were talking about that before the show. But really having you here because you offer a variety of programs, and today we're really going to be focusing on transportation, which you are a critical provider in that area, and we know that that's a service so necessary to people of all ages here in the Monadnock region. So let's talk a little bit about the areas of service that you do provide.
Certainly, transportation is often called the glue that helps keep life together because particularly in this rural area, even in Keene, if you don't have a car, it's very difficult to get around. So we have medical transportation, public transportation, and door-to-door transportation called the Friendly Bus. And we can accommodate people of all ages with these transportation options.
So let's break each one of these down because I'm sure people are wondering, well, what's the difference? You know, transportation is transportation. And it really isn't, because we were talking before the show, and when you think about people's mobility and ability to be able to move, people have different needs, and you're really trying to address some different needs. So let's start with City Express, because that's the more that's a large central network provider, really, of transportation here in the region.
That's right. The City Express is Keene's bus for everyone. It's public transit. You probably see the buses around town with the giant frogs and the lily pads because we like to say it's hip to hop the bus. And it's for people of all ages. It's a fixed route system, so we have 2 buses throughout the year that have specific stops along the highways and byways of Keene. We stop at medical facilities, at a lot of housing areas, retail establishments, and downtown. We also operate the Keene State Campus Community Shuttle during the Keene State academic year, which can give people additional mobility out to the Monadnock marketplace.
So really out sort of on the periphery of the city here. To get out to the marketplace. And I know when I worked with some elderly folks, one of the things they said to me were they weren't aware that they could connect to that system over on the Keene State College campus to get out there, that they could take the regular bus system and then connect into the other rides to be able to get out, a lot of them for their medications.
Exactly. The City Express transfers are free, so someone who is riding our regular route can transfer at the Walmart stop and get out to Target or Michael's for crafts. And in the next academic year, we're very excited because Keene State has allowed us to modify the route, and we will be going to Market Basket. So we will now have access on the City Express to all of the grocery opportunities within the city of Keene. And we'll be going to Market Basket every half hour. So people can transfer, get on the City Express campus shuttle route, and be out to Market Basket in pretty short order to do their groceries out there if they so choose.
Wow, so access to a variety of grocery stores, which is critical around here because we have had some of our shopping locations disappear, and it's become more difficult for people to get to those locations. So Market Basket is a great addition out there. You have another addition that you'll be looking at putting in and adding, and that you're doing some fundraising for. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Right. We've added several stops over the past year in response to our riders' requests. The chief among them was the YMCA. And actually, we're launching a GoFundMe page. The YMCA is raising funds so that we can put a pull-out at the end of their driveway. There'll be a shelter so people can wait in inclement weather, and the bus will stop there probably about once an hour. People can get right to the end of the wide driveway, we hope by this fall, and we will have service there 9 times a day, and they can access their physical activity more easily than they can now. So that's just one of the new stops that we've added.
And one of the exciting pieces that you put into effect this summer was a special summer pass for young people. And you know, we were talking, and one of the things we've seen, I've seen it with my daughter, for example, she'd prefer to use public transportation than taking the car and running off someplace for lots of reasons. She doesn't like driving, she doesn't like the traffic, she doesn't like the car payments and insurance. So I think our younger generation really enjoys and likes the public transportation. What's the summer pass that you have available?
The Summer Fun Pass is for young people, teens, from 13 to 16, to be able to ride for 30 days for $10. It's unlimited rides. Lots of people don't know that kids can ride the City Express. So kids up to age 12 ride for free when accompanied by an adult who's paying a fare, and then 13 to 16 during the summer months can ride with this special pass, and they can go bowling, they can go to movies, they can go to Wheelock Park, really anywhere the bus stops or can safely stop at a flag location. We can get kids so that they can enjoy their summer, and their parents don't have to run them around.
And that's a nice feature. When you think of that a parent may be working here in Keene, they could bring their child in or teen in and have the opportunity to really, you know, leave them at a stop, know they're going to be picked up safely and transported to that location and have a great day, have some summer fun.
Exactly. And I think people may want to know that we have bike racks on the front of the buses. So if someone comes in from outside of Keene or even within Keene and they don't feel comfortable riding their bike downtown, they can put the bike on the front of the bus. We can accommodate 2 bikes, and then when they get to the skateboard park or maybe they get out to the bike path, they can pull the bike off the front of the bus and ride to where they need to go.
It's also accessible, I believe, so people that may be wheelchair bound have the opportunity to ride the bus as well.
Exactly. All of our buses are wheelchair equipped, and we have pull cords and all the ADA compliant devices that we need for people of all abilities to ride the bus. And we've had more riders than ever before this year. We had 43,000 rides in the past year.
Wow. That's a substantial number, and I think again it speaks to that there's a real shift in people's thinking about really utilizing public transportation when it's available. You offer other kinds of transportation, which it's amazing that we have this ability to focus in on people who perhaps maybe can't get to one of those public location stops, and it's called Friendly Bus.
Exactly. The Friendly Bus is for senior citizens, anyone over 60 who can't get to a bus stop, or maybe they're not able to navigate the City Express. We pick people up at their door and get them safely to their destination. So it's door-to-door service. The big difference is that you need a reservation the day in advance, whereas you can simply hop on the City Express when you feel like going.
So we have the Friendly Bus, the City Express, providing service to people for both their medical needs, their shopping needs, their getting around and having some fun at different locations, really addressing the health of our citizens when we're going to places like the Y and giving people access to those kinds of locations. Really, transportation's promoting the health and well-being here of the Monadnock region.
It certainly is. There's a lot of studies that show that people miss their medical appointments if they don't have transportation. And we're faced with an aging population. Studies are showing that men don't drive during the last 7 years of their life, and women don't drive in the last 10 years. So they may be missing out on social opportunities, on medical appointments. Certainly, it is key to helping people stay in their own home.
And I want to address that, and I'm going to have Dave pull up some pictures of the City Express and Friendly Bus here, and talk about some of the critical issues that transportation is facing here in the Monadnock region and actually statewide. So Dave, I think we have some pictures.
That's the City Express and our friendly frog that lets people know that it's hip to hop the bus. And those are two of our vehicles, so if you see these distinctive vehicles running through the city, you'll know that that's public transportation, and people of all ages can hop on. They're air conditioned, so on days that are hot, we find it's very cool to ride the City Express.
Do you find that people like to just ride around for the day?
We do. We have lots of people who just ride with us because it's a great social opportunity. There's lots of people who become a community on the City Express bus. And this is our friendly bus. Lots of people think that the friendly bus is just for medical appointments. Over a third of our appointments are to medical facilities, but the others are to hairdressers, grocery shopping, to the senior center. This particular group is coming to the friendly meals at the Garden Cafe. And we do have a special friendly bus shuttle that goes to Market Basket twice a month. And all of these transportation services are sponsored by Home Health Care, Hospice, and Community Services. It's proud to be a Monadnock United Way agency. We really couldn't provide the services that we do without the support of the United Way. Oh, and we were just speaking about the accessibility of the vehicle. That's our wheelchair lift. All of our drivers are commercial drivers licensed with passenger endorsement. They have special training in how to safely use our lifts. So people with mobility difficulties can use the bus easily to get around. And we haven't talked about medical transportation to White River Junction. This is our medical transportation that is going north every Wednesday to White River Junction and Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center in Lebanon.
And that's really done in collaboration. You partner with the American Red Cross so that we can make sure there's a full service complement of transportation for people on different days and really coordinated.
Exactly. The Regional Coordinating Council for Community Transportation has worked really hard so that we don't have duplication. On the medical transportation, we are offering our services on Wednesday, and we take a full bus to White River Junction and to Lebanon, and it is wheelchair accessible. People can go other days of the week using the Red Cross service.
And then I know we also have Contoocook Valley Transportation Company here in the region, and that you're coordinating with them some of the services. They're a little bit more on the eastern side of the mountain here for us, but we again are fortunate to have this array of service, transportation service, to meet people's needs.
Exactly. The transportation is so important to people, and if a person in Peterborough needs to get up to White River Junction, they can perhaps get a ride to HCS on Marlborough Street, and then we can take them the rest of the way on their journey. People can bring a caregiver if they need to when they get up to Dartmouth so that there's someone with them.
And I want to really remind folks that are out watching us tonight that these services, the City Express, there is a fee to ride the City Express. I believe it's donation on the Friendly Bus. Is that correct?
That's right. The fares are really reasonable on the City Express. It's $1 a ride. We've got a number of pass options. As you've just heard, the Summer Fun Pass is one of them. But the Friendly Bus and the transportation to medical appointments is on a donation basis. So it's very, very reasonable.
So I really want people to understand why it's important to, when they set up a GoFundMe an account like that, for example, to fund an additional stop out at the Y. It's not because your donor dollars aren't coming in and supporting the agency. It's that we're trying to expand and enhance the services here in the Monadnock region, and that requires resources to be able to do that. So really important that people support you know, the addition of these expanded services. I mean, I can't believe you're going to be going out to Market Basket, and I wish you had the Summer Fun Pass for the rest of us.
Well, later this fall, we'll have a number of different passes around the holidays. We have a holiday pass, which enables people to, again, ride as many times as they want. We realize that some people have a limited income, so the 30-day pass is a way that people can ride as many times as they need to, get to groceries, to medical appointments, to work. About half of the people who are riding the City Express are under the age of 60, people with young families. So that's why we really have made it possible for families with children under 12 to ride free. Sometimes a family may have 2 or 3 children coming with them, and we want people to have that mobility because it is so key to their independence.
It's key to independence and key to stability. When you think about people being able to get to work, for example, just such a critical need. And when I think about the winter months, you know, that kind of pass or that kind of opportunity to jump the bus instead of having to worry about getting in your car and the potential for an accident or, you know, just driving in bad weather. These are professional drivers, well licensed and credentialed. And again, it's accessible. You're making it very viable for a family and for children to be able to use this, and people to get all kinds of places now. I have to jump it just to go out to Market Basket because I just think that's so great.
Indeed, and the other stops that we've offered this year, we are now going through the Railroad Street property. So we are stopping at the Monadnock Food Co-op where they have the Healthy Food for All program. It's very near Southwestern Community Services and the Railroad Street housing and some of the new housing for seniors that will be going up in that area. So again, we're trying to be responsive to people, go to where people need to go within the financial constraints that we have on the system.
Wow, and again, that's a great stop because the co-op is obviously fabulous.
Yeah.
And it does give you access to services over in that area.
Yeah.
But one of the really nice pieces of that is it drops you kind of on the backside of Main Street there. So if you really want to get out onto Main Street, you've been dropped off at a very safe location. You can stop and have a great bite at the co-op, see whoever you need to see at the services, and then go out and do a little buying local here at our local businesses on Main Street.
Exactly. I was looking at where our United Way agencies are, where the services are in the community, and the City Express route is really within walking distance of most of our services and medical facilities. So if you need to get somewhere, you can certainly hop the bus.
Now, if somebody, you said that with City Express, they can just jump on at a stop. But Friendly Bus, if they need that door-to-door service, they have to call a day ahead. How would they contact you if they need that door-to-door service?
They would call us at 352-8494 and speak with one of our friendly dispatchers who would make an appointment, schedule a time for them, and we would pick the person up at that appointed time at their door. and also schedule a return ride for them. And our dispatchers are super duper. They don't leave anyone stranded. So people sometimes wonder, oh, if my appointment runs late, what am I going to do to get home? We will make sure that people know that we're needing to get them at a certain time, make sure they get home, or make some other arrangements. But most of the time, we can get everybody back on the Friendly Bus or City Express.
Now, can you explain to me what you mean by door to door?
Door to door is we pick a person up at their house. If a person's in a wheelchair, we may go to their door to help them get down their ramp and actually into the bus. So if they're ready at the door, we provide the helpful arm to get them into the vehicle safely.
So it's really literally door to door, where you'll go to the door to help them into the bus.
It certainly is.
Wow, what great services. Now, we know that transportation in New Hampshire has been challenged with funding resources. We know that that has local impact. You've done an amazing job building this network with limited resources. Let's talk about a little bit some of the future of what transportation is looking like, because I don't think it's getting easier. I think it's probably getting more and more challenging.
We are seeing more riders than ever before. As I said, we did 43,000 plus trips on the City Express, over 10,000 trips on the Friendly Bus, and we have had new riders really calling us on a daily basis for the Friendly Bus. So we are constantly looking for resources to keep our wheels rolling, because we do realize it's so important. But the state funding has been reduced over the past year. So there are significant challenges in helping us to stay on the road.
So I think it becomes even more incumbent on our local folks to think about how they can support services like this. Because they may not be in need at the moment, but you never know, especially with transportation, when you're going to need that service. And it can happen to any of us in an instant. You know, you lose the ability to use your own vehicle, and suddenly you're dependent on that network of transportation that's been built out there. So I hope people keep that in mind as they're thinking about how they support this, and also how they advocate, because, you know, it is a critical web of safety and support for people out there to have transportation to them. You mentioned medical care, getting to jobs, getting to those health and recreational, mental health, in counseling and support services, child care. There's just lots of things day to day that we need transportation for.
You're so right. You never know, because it could be a parent or a loved one who can no longer drive, and you need to take time off from work in order to get them to medical appointments. But if they can get the Friendly Bus to their medical appointment, then they can be very independent and you can continue to work. One of the other aspects of the City Express is the Para Express, which is for those with a transit disability. And our first paratransit rider several years ago was a woman who was working, and she had fallen, broken her leg, and just could not drive for a period of 6 weeks. So we could accommodate her on the Para Express so that she could keep her job. She was able to line up friends to bring her home, but to get her to her job at the appointed hour, we made sure that the City Express was there. So you just never know when you might need this service.
That's for sure. And now, does the City Express run on does it come through the different locations every half hour, every hour? Is it hard to judge when it's going to come through? Is there a schedule available to people?
There are bus stop signs at about 15 regular stops throughout the city, and it stops at each location about once every half hour. The schedule is online at cityexpress.org or at the HCS website under Services and Transportation. There's actually the logo for City Express, and you can click on that and get the schedule. And the schedule is also at each bus stop. We're hoping this fall also to have a phone app that will tell you when the bus is coming to your location.
Wow, and then I'll wait for you to have the phone app where we can just pay when we get on board the bus. I know they have the meters now here in Keene that you can put the app on and pay for your meter while we're sitting here if we had to, in fact. So some very innovative things happening with transportation here, and some great coordination and collaboration between services. Anything else you want the public to know about transportation here?
I think it's just important to know that transportation is available here in the city of Keene. Lots of people don't know about a service until they really need it. So we say, get to know us before you need us. Just be aware that there is transportation here, that you might be able to access your kids during the summer or your elders in addition to a need that you might have. And sometimes it's fun just to hop the bus during the summertime and see where we go.
And it's air conditioned.
It's air conditioned and you can see the sights of Keene.
Well, the other thing that I want to highlight is, now, does the Friendly Bus travel outside of the area beyond White River Junction doing the Veterans Hospital?
Yep. We are now working with Southwestern Community Services and some of the elderly housing in North Swansea and in Marlborough. We have shopping trips. We go to the housing twice a month, and they can go to Market Basket and downtown into the city of Keene. So we've got full bus loads actually coming on that trip.
And again, I want to really emphasize that with limited resources, we're doing some pretty amazing things. And just think about, if we had some additional resources, what we could do with transportation here in the region. And I know a lot of people have expressed concern that, you know, I can't live out in Winchester and get into Keene for work. And that, again, requires resources to be able to do that. And everybody's doing what they can, and doing a tremendous job with limited resources. And, you know, the fact that we have this network here in the city of Keene that's now also reaching out into some of the outlying communities, just so it's such a critical need. There's some future collaborations, I know, that'll be happening. People are trying to be creative with transportation and how we can grow it with what resources we do have. That's exciting. I think, you know, the new stop out at the Y, what a great opportunity for people. And, you know, they've got strong membership out there now. So I hope people really choose to hop the bus out there if they can't bike. And I was sharing with you, you know, some people do have mobility issues. They can't ride a bike, or they may not be able to walk long distances. And we've done a great job of setting up those networks here in the city, but having this additional resource is just so important.
Well, it's also key to people's health, because if you can walk to a bus stop, you're walking, and then you're hopping the bus and maybe walking just a little bit to your destination. I think it's also a cost-saving measure, because the regional planning has said it costs $9,000 every year when you think about the insurance and the wear and tear on your car. So it can be a significant saving to hop the bus, even for a few trips every single week.
Well, especially at $1 a trip. That's
exactly.
Pretty reasonable. So, Susan, any last thoughts for our audience?
I think people should give us a try, and certainly support the transportation programs through the Monadnock United Way. It's really key to keep our wheels rolling.
And I can't agree more, and I thank you for acknowledging you donors out there that do give. These are the types of services that you're giving to. You know, thousands of people receiving transportation services. Want to remind you that it is critical not only to give, but to be an advocate, particularly around services like this, because they are facing critical cuts here in the state of New Hampshire and at the federal level as well. So I invite you to remember to give, to volunteer where you can, and to advocate. Thanks for joining us.